Oh, what?
Not a lot of action happening, and even the
What
units
the
that are being
Praedyth?
yeah,
No.
yes.
Okay.
This is AllReasonNoLogic's road to OS 25. Let's follow Praedyth's journey from starting skill rating 16 as he makes his way to rating 25 and beyond.
It's an even dozen for episodes on Praedyth's road to OS 25, and we're on a classic map that's all about getting wet. We are on the Crimson Wave, that is Red River Remake. At this point in the series, Praedyth's climbing higher on the ranked ladder and now halfway to that OS 25. He is at 21.27. Let's see if Praedyth can hold his nerve as the red team leader and secure the river, pushing one step closer to that coveted goal. Let's get into it.
Looking at this map, this is quite a unique one because both of the teams start on opposite ends of the map with a river in between, which means that there is basically no way across unless you're using either hovers, submersibles, or air. So you actually have both a very safe start and also a very risky start. If you choose to safely go into eco, you could then be attacked by hovers, and if you go hovers and don't get enough done, then you're going to be massively behind because of how protected the start zones are. Interestingly, this map is not symmetrical on either side. You'll notice that the inland ponds are actually quite different. The one that I have situated myself next to has a geo as well as 3 mexes, which I fully plan to utilize. I'm going to try and convince Twig not to look too closely at me for the first few minutes of this game, though, and look at other people, because I energy stall and I build power stall, and not just once, but 3 times, and I don't want you seeing that.
Yeah, we're not zoomed in right now. All right. Let's
Dear,
looking
this
around
10...
the players. We do have mid to low OSs around the map. Oh, I don't love your chances on this one. I'm seeing a 1 Chev, 3 2 Chevs, and a 3 Chev on your team. Their team, 2 1
has
Chevs.
2 1 Chevs and a 1
Chev.
OS.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, I suppose they do have the 1 OS. Okay, that changes things a bit. So there's 4 players on their team that I'd say quite inexperienced or lacking a little bit of skill.
Yes,
I can say that.
this was a very, very open lobby with quite a lot of map changes before this, because there was some people who vehemently wanted boats and a lot of people that didn't, which is how this map came up as a compromise.
The blue team leader going straight into hovers. You don't really see a hover start from many players. Only 2 mexes to start with. It is very expensive. Without getting that 3rd mex, you want to be getting 5 to 6 metals per second before you're going into hovers, because you can see metal stall straight away before even getting out any units. I mean,
well, like the lab is 900 compared to the 720 or 620 of the vehicles and bot labs. It's just, and like the constructors are expensive. It is a very tough start. Yeah. But the light green player is also doing the same thing. So 2 players on the blue side that are going to go into that early aggression across the river. And if you compare that to the red side, there is no one doing that.
Yeah, is everyone into bots? To me, that's the only one answer to this. Sorry, 2 answers. You got bots or air. I wouldn't even go vehicles. I'd be doing transition to vehicles. You want to get out and secure as many of these mexes as possible. And
if I was planning to hold in the river, I would go vehicles to start with so that I can get those submersible builders. That's the only reason I would go vehicles.
Yeah.
But considering that I went bots, that tells you a lot about what I'm thinking, which is to get as much eco as possible, get a radar on the front line, and then hold with absolutely no defenses whatsoever, chuck it all into eco, and hope and live on a dream and build units if I absolutely have to.
We are not... Oh, here we go. Cream player. Straight into units. Probably not the best choice there. Not gonna.
But even though they're straight into units, they're expanding out with their eco, so
they're not bottoming out.
They're doing better than some of the other players. If you compare that to the blue player over here, only a handful of mexes the entire front of the map. Sorry, light blue player, the entire front of the map completely open. So even though there are units here, I think that's probably not so bad so long as the mexes keep getting taken.
Going into a greedy T2 facility with the medal from a detonation of their own commander. Yeah,
They're still going to fall short.
don't have the energy for it either, going into conversion. So people, converters is very important that you read 70 energy into 1 metal per second. That means you only need one of these for every 70 metal you produce. Right there in my selection, 3 solars and 1 wind. When the wind's at about 10, that is exactly 70. So you only need 1 converter. Right now we're just wasting energy.
Don't look at my base. Do not look at my base.
Oh wow, Praetor, three of the construction turrets. I've never seen you do this.
That's not even the part I don't want you to see. It's the conversion that's being built.
Oh no. Hidden by the logo, the AllReasonNoLogic purple. What do we call this? It's like a mix between a pawn and our own little robot character that we came up with.
So I do have method to my madness here.
We have our first
I have
attack.
a geo spot.
We have a very first
and
attack.
I can build tidal generators. And I'm not even remotely concerned about being attacked right now because at this stage in the game, I have forgotten that hovers exist.
Oh, yeah, and it looks like the only aggression is the player that's directly across from you has the opportunity with hovers.
It is, isn't it?
Blue.
I wonder how that's going to go.
Nice micro here. The blue player splitting up by dragging pairs of 2 hovers across and taking out, a very efficient amount of mexes. They are going to pay for themselves just with that first raid. If they can keep up that micro, they might get a couple more. Taking down this construction vehicle is very effective. Are we going to get an APM stall here? Perhaps.
Thankfully, even though some mexes have been taken out, this isn't the end of the world because because the cream player did have some units up to clear this out, and the yellow player is struggling a little bit because they are air, so they do need the other players to come in and help. Yeah. And the comm is going to take out the last of it that's headed down towards the brown player.
We do have gunships out of the yellow player. He wasn't using them. Even just one of those would take out all of those hovercrafts. Alright, let's go check back in on you. Have we got that G up?
Yes.
We do. So let's select that eco. We're at 42 metal per second. Oh, that must have been a bit of
and
reclaim.
a T2 lab as well.
Oh, okay. So is that the first T2 lab?
I don't think it's the first
this one
T2
did get
lab.
the first
No,
one.
that one
Just to
is
give you a
up. However,
perspective, look at Praise Eco versus this player. They both got T2 lab. This one's only obviously got up just beforehand because you can see nothing else is built. The first construction bot is happening. And Praetor actually is going to get that first constructor out. So
yes,
ecoing a little bit harder is important before you jump into T2. Have we got them anywhere else? Don't think we do. Looking around the map. More hovers being cleaned up from that cream player, so maybe I was totally wrong about going into bots straight away. That was maybe the saving grace for the north.
I told you, it's not like I was in the game and knew what was about to happen.
Okay, yeah. You are.
Are
you going to be handing out these units? It looks like you are. We have another one.
No, I'm greeding like hell because the player below me, if you look at their eco, is mostly solars, and I was like, I could. But I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's worth my 400 metal.
So these
games... That is greed. That is so much greed from me.
I do appreciate it, though. I do remember I used to play in some of these lobbies regularly a year ago, back when I had a life, before children came on the scene. Sorry?
Just a quick note. You'll notice that I'm getting a couple of fiends out. These 5 fiends are what I'm going to rely on solely for the next 5 or so minutes in the game as my defense.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. I see so many
fiends.
players greed and they won't have any units and they go into the eco. So having T2 units out just to give that warning to the other players is enough to maybe deter them play those mind games. Back to what I was saying, I do appreciate the greed sometimes in these lobbies that have half the team with little to no experience, and it literally is half your team that has little to no experience and then one player that's at that 100-hour mark approximately. So yeah, you can do it all sometimes in these lobbies, even though it's an 8 versus 8. Take the world on your shoulders.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking of trying to do. I just feel like I'm in such a safe position right now because of the water separating me that I need to get my eco up very quickly and try to get ready for flagships coming, because as I noticed, we only have one player in the sea, and that was a really big determining factor for how I acted, because I didn't believe that if I went into the sea, I would be able to hold against however many the opponents did. And so I thought to myself, how do I win this from land?
Yeah, this is not looking good for your team. Obviously, don't spoil the result for us here, Prey. This is my first time watching this or even skimming through it. I don't see you guys coming back from this.
Losing the sea is a big deal.
T2. Well, we do have the advanced shipyard. Does this player maybe? They do not have the eco for T2.
No, not even a little bit.
Wow. You only need maybe 2 construction turrets.
17 solars,
eco?
340 energy.
Hmm.
And this is all stuff that I looked around and decided, okay, this has to be one. If this is going to be one, it has to be one from land.
Did it more of a hot tip for you here, going into a bit more build power in the expectation that this comes up sooner? But
yes,
that probably stalled you by quite a number of seconds just getting those 2 extra up. If they were doing nothing, the advanced geo probably would have recognized.
That's fine. I'm totally not going to stall myself even harder again. I'm not putting a fusion down at the same time as building the advanced geo. That's definitely not happened just now.
I mean, hey, not damage efficiency. Where am I going? Energy produced. You're at the top roughly with your team. Yeah, yourself and Peng.
Yes.
Yep, neck and neck.
It's the metal though that I want you to look at.
Yeah, and that's where you are. You're right up there. You are only close with blue, the other team leader, and green. I don't think really counts because I can see there was a take here, so someone's obviously left the game.
Sorry, just real quick. If you look at my metal right now, I did actually get the fusion, the advanced fusion up at the last, like bang on zeroing out metal.
Okay.
So even though I didn't do it exactly perfectly, I probably could have gotten it out 5 to 10 seconds earlier. I did get it right. I did get it exactly right with metal.
Yeah, and we're seeing a reclaim of the T2 lab, which I love to see. And people with an advanced geo and a fusion, that's enough to go T3. It'll be slow T3.
It is enough to go through T3.
It is probably a little bit expensive as Cortex, but those Shivas 1500.
Front lines, front of my base. We're just about to get attacked by hovers, and this is the point in the game where I realize hovers exist.
You didn't look north with all the shooting that happened earlier in the game?
At least not at the right time. But they're just about to try and make landfall and discover that that's a bad idea. That's a really bad idea. They try to make second landfall, but I am not going to have any of that. I feel so vindicated that I bought these 5 fiends. You have no idea.
And hot tip, IOC, if you do watch this, mate, you definitely had units at the start when no one else did down this south end of the map. You could have probably gone and done Praedyth quite a bit of damage. If you got units, use them. And another theory I have with not every situation, but in a lot of situations, units are mobile towers. So
yes,
if you got a choice and it's between units or building static defense, go the units, unless obviously case by case you would need your LLTs and stuff like that at the start. I get that.
The thing which I find very hard to believe with one of my direct opponents, IOC, they had all these hovers, they had hover build power, but they didn't move it into the ocean and take the 4 mexes in front. They let the dark green player take all of those mexes. I 100% would have moved these in front and tried to get those mexes. You don't need to hold on to mexes for very long for them to pay themselves off.
Yeah. Whilst you're building up quite the strong economy there, 2 fusions going back into the T2 lab. Okay. Yeah, I think I might know what's happening here. I'll come back down there. I am seeing the blue player going into one of my favorite strategies, going for those tier 1.5 units, using a construction hovercraft to build the underwater amphibious complex. With that, with Cortex, you can build your Garpikes, you can build your Salamanders. Great unit, the Salamanders. They're cheap.
Salamanders.
And
yep, they're very strong.
And then Poison Arrow is a flat T2 unit. Like, they put down so much damage.
And
They've had quite a buff. Yeah, the recent update sees them put out a lot more damage, I think. And the one problem I can say with this, though, is even though the eco is scaling for this player, they have way too much metal in the bank. So yeah, Fusion needs to come up. They should be buying T2 from someone.
Just while you're looking at that top section of the map,
them that go in with units.
Can you identify a large problem that becomes evident when you look at the top half of the map?
Well, I was just saying then that this player here is the only one that's going to have any sort of good army to attack, and then you're going to have 3 or 4 players up against him, so he's not really communicating with his surrounding teammates. And I mean, they've got naval control. You should be building ships.
They do, but what is it that the blue team is missing?
Radar? No, they got radar. Nope. Let me just go play it.
They are missing an entire super important part of the game.
Air.
They're missing air.
This player's built a air lab, a hover lab, a T2 air lab, a bot lab, a advanced bot lab. New to the game, 1 Chev. If you do watch this, mate, you're best to reclaim labs, use the metal to fund eco, and don't diversify yourself too much, because you will just end up not having a strategy to win. A little bit of action happening in the ocean here. We've got some herrings and destroyers, oppressors.
They do, but the bombers that are flying across the river right now is what is most important. This is a problem. There is nothing to stop this.
Yeah, what is this player going to do? You want to separate and drag your units out in a line like this. So right click and drag, and then go for targets, so that if you do come across anti-air. Oh, we've found a target.
And it's not even like the opposition didn't know air was a factor. There has been a scout that has flown over this multiple times. And this is a big problem, because they do not have anything they can deal with it, and because they've been going into things like the boats, things like the hover labs, there's nothing coming up that's really going to
T2 constructor going into an arbalist. The answer here would have been grabbing one of these T1 constructors, and I'd suggest going just for the ferret. The ferret will take this whole army out, or this air force out, and using all these constructors to build it. Just a little bit of panic there.
Unfortunately, though, there's just not a lot of not a
not
lot of action happening, and even the units that are being
No.
Yeah? Yes.
Okay. Anyone tuning in right now, check out, there is a episode that we created earlier this year. It was a Cortex tier rating list, and it started kind of this bit of banter going between me and Pradith. I love the duck. Pradith has been ragging on it for
it's terrible
months and months whenever it comes up. What do you guys think in the comments? I think it's like a decent unit. It's obviously very much a water-based unit. But,
the duck is terrible.
It's terrible on land, yes.
No, it's terrible in every situation. Its torpedoes don't track.
Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. Boats are slow movers, so if you know what you're doing with them and attacking ground targets, and specifically like putting the ducks in the right position, getting your surround bonuses, they do their thing, and then they take boats out with efficiency.
Look, I'm not going to say that they don't do a thing. I'm building them because I need a unit that will cross this water. But if this water wasn't here, I wouldn't be building ducks. If there were land bridges, I would not be building ducks. This is just the only option I have. Also, I feel really good that I have an anti-nuke right now, considering that they're building a nuke. That means I timed that quite decently.
Who has got a nuke? I've missed that.
The light blue player. Dimmy.
Cyan has a nuke,
yes.
And I like what you're doing here. You've reclaimed the lab once again to scale your eco. Only thing I would have changed here is I would have built this AFS first, so you can maximize the use of all of these construction turrets.
Here we go. I'm building 2 at once.
Oh, no.
So, okay, hold on. This is just really quick before this attack starts.
Yeah.
I built a hardened metal storage and I set a whole bunch of stuff for my base to do because I told myself I can't micro and macro at the same time effectively. So
Yes.
if I just set my base to do a thing, then I can concentrate entirely on this attack. I was going to use the ducks to try and take the ocean, but when I started getting hit by jellyfish, I decided that I thought there were going to be a lot of jellyfish along the shore, not just that it was the only place with jellyfish in the entire game. And so I decided, well, I guess I'm going to go for the eco instead. Have seen the comm, no D-guns out of the comm, thankfully. That could have been way worse had there been a bit of damage from the explosion, but I still have 27 ducks, and they are waddling their way forward. My goal is just to do as much damage as possible, and this attack has been very well timed because that APHIS is not finished. The energy conversion is not there, which means that the units are going to come out slowly to try and stop this. And that was my figuring. With all of the defenses on the coast, once you start making it past this, it's just open season. And even though the duck is an absolutely atrociously bad unit that shouldn't be in the game and should be replaced with something good, it will still get the job done because it is a unit and I have more of them than my opponent.
Just a good note here to consider is this is actually two
Ducks are
players
bad.
you're coming on right now. Like you're taking on two players right now, even though it's one player. He's got two ecos. Good response going into a bunch of T2 focusing on that lab, but these are not going to come out in time. Maybe
No,
a EMP bot like a Ghost would have been important to get up with a bunch of sprinters. Might have been a better choice. You are taking this base down, that is for sure, and I'm hoping that you just head straight north straight away.
This is where I make one of my mistakes. I send one duck to go and attack this advanced metal extractor. I should have set him a fight command that moved him between all the other metal extractors. I didn't do it because I thought, oh yeah, there'll be a response coming from the player above and there's no point. I should have done that. Even if I lost the duck, I should have done that. It would have been it was the wrong call to try and regroup them to go for this next base because I was always going to kill this next base regardless because there's no way that they were going to get enough units up to deal with this, and that one duck could have done even more eco damage. So that's just don't second guess yourself. If you can attack in multiple directions and you still have enough force to be effective, just do that. Make sure you do that.
We've got the fight command down here right now. The hover army is coming back to take these ducks out. Green player, you can see their inexperience here going into more construction turrets. What these constructors could have done is put down some towers, and also that T1 vehicle lab probably should have put out some units, even just like the brutes. The brutes would have been the perfect answer for these ducks. Taking them out have the ability. I think this inner red circle around the ducks, that's the range of their lasers, so the brute can actually slightly outrange. And if we can see here, these hovers now cleaning them up, but plenty of damage done. What are you doing back on your front line? You've gone into Sheldon's. Defensive Sheldon's, I assume?
Yes, my figuring was when I attacked, I thought there was going to be a big attack coming at me, because if that happens to one of my allies, and I don't think I can do anything to stop it, or I think they're going to clean it up, my response is to attack, because I figure that they won't have defenses, so I thought just getting a couple of units to make sure that this was all good. And yes, there is a flagship.
And we do have platypus coming in at the top. I just don't want to miss this. So I want to see what happens here. The commander's right on the edge of the water. Is their head sticking out? Not quite. So you can shoot these commanders when their head's just bopping above the water.
Yes, but that is not the case this time round. The platypus are just going on, and without the torpedoes, they're not going to be able to get quite as much done as something like the duck would. Now, even though I hate the duck, comparing them to the platypus, it is better than the platypus.
Disagreed. These are good at actually rating. These are really good, these units, for like, if you see a gap, you can punch out a bunch of these out of your T2 lab quite quickly.
Yeah.
And good
response. All the units have their places. They're just not my cup of tea. Now, flagship is out. The flagship is shelling. What is the flagship shelling?
Almost
nothing important.
Can it reach your advanced geo if it hugs the shore? No, it won't be able to.
Yes.
If you're over here, I don't reckon. What's that range?
It can from the little inlet. Yeah, yeah, about there. It can from about there. Okay. If you have a flagship, you have invested 17,000 metal. That is 2 APHIS.
Yeah.
You can almost build 2 APHIS and the conversion and then start building the flagship and get it in almost the same time, probably like 25-30% longer. What I'm getting at is if you get a flagship, you have to deal 2 APHIS damage, 2 APHIS worth of damage. Shelling the front line is not 2 APHIS worth of damage. You have a decent sized navy, you've been pushing the brown player back, and that little cove in the middle is the place to park a flagship. It can hit the pink player, it can hit the orange player, it can completely destroy the brown player. Absolutely devastating spot, and the flagship is starting to head there now. But if you can open with that volley onto that eco, absolutely devastating, and you can ruin an entire player. But as it stands, it's going to be a big question mark if this flagship is worth it over ecoing and then getting a flagship. And my response, having seen the flagship, is okay, I know what kills flagships based on what I can produce, and it's ducks.
Just been distracted up here by this fight. Yellow having these T2 gunships, no real great response out of anyone, and you can see here Quasi sticking their head above the water, so you're going to see a commander dipping their head back below the water there to keep themselves safe. And not a lot of anti-air. Great job targeting the SAM. There is a chainsaw that will take these down slowly, and the T1 fighters, but we do have yellow bringing across the T2 fighters, which will easily clean up these T1 fighters.
Yes, blue is having to do a bit of everything. They're trying to fight in the ocean, they're trying to fight with submersible units, they're trying to defend against platypus, and they're having to defend against air. And on top of that, the player that was above them left the game because of those platypus attacks. So they are in micro hell at the moment.
Let's just check out those APMs. So the blue player up there, 41, the most in the game. Nicely done. But a little bit stretched thin there, now having to cover a big shoreline. But still, your opponent team, there's 2 flagships almost out now out of the green player. You control
there's a third
the navy.
one almost out from the purple player as well.
Wow. Yeah, you control the
There's
navy.
a lot of flag.
And
But I control the ducks.
You've gone ducks again. Okay, and then I see a T3 lab coming out. I'm loving it. I am loving your eco as well. It is far ahead. You're at 255 metal a second. The next best is the blue player at 150, 120-ish. Oh, we do have the green
Again,
player
though,
quite a bit.
a lot of room for improvement. I built the T3 lab at the same time as I was building another APHIS.
I would love to see your ducks run into the greens eco. That would be the best.
That'd be great, but I'm more concerned with what's happening in the inlet at the moment, which is where those ducks are headed. Is a problem.
Yeah,
And the flagship is now doing what the flagship needs to do, which is approximately 2 APHIS worth of damage.
There is no radar ship here that I can see. If I was this player here, I'd send the commander for it and just degun that flagship.
That would have been very nice, but that has not happened. Enough anti-air to keep the gunships back as well, but not an overwhelming amount, and so the player backs out. This flagship should be yeeting shells into what it suspects are start positions. Everyone builds their eco in the start position that they started in. It could have yeeted shells into pink and orange. I know that I'm being critical, but when you have a unit worth 17,000 metal, you have to really think about how you use it. And yeeting shells is what you need to do. But it has been put on the defensive because of Pink's attack into the middle of the base. The first real T3 land attack that is going on. Pink is on the other side with Shivas. Not a lot of them, but that is still T3 that has landed on the other side. Twig, I got a question for you. If you're on the blue team and you manage to kill these Shivas, what is the most important thing that you could do?
Resurrect them and send them back.
Resurrect the damn Shivas.
And just a note for resurrection, you can only resurrect a unit once. So if you're sending them back to the other side, they will die for the final time. They cannot
I
be
had
resurrected
no idea.
again. Every
Really?
unit in the game can only be resurrected a max of once. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I have heard that elsewhere, and I think I've tested that out because I did play a game of Kosher last night that you got to see, and I was resurrecting units, and then when I was resurrecting them, they did not. When they died, there was no corpse left behind every time I lost a resurrected demon. That was.
Yes. This is a devastating amount of damage, but this is even better because they came back to deal with those Shivas. It let my ducks get in the water. They were most vulnerable when they were on land, but now they are underwater and they are reaping a toll. There were 50 ducks. 50 ducks is 16,500 metal. A flagship is 17,000 metal. If they kill the flagship, then they are already ahead. If they kill other ships, which they have been, this entire graveyard is because of the ducks, then this is going to be absolutely amazing damage.
What you could do right now is spread yours out in a line, because you can see when some of these die, they will do a tiny bit of damage when the torpedoes from other ships pass them through, and you're doing just that. You've gone into a line now. Less likely for the torpedoes to miss and then hit something else.
And I'm going to try and dodge the flagship explosion damage too, because I'm smirked. Not enough ducks left to kill the second flagship, but these guys have done exactly what I wanted them to do, which is take the pressure off of us. And what's been going on while I've been doing that?
Very nice. Very sexy.
A lot of Shivas. Now, I make a really big mistake here, and this is something that I want everyone to listen to. I have oodles of production. When I use these Shivas to attack, I will be stopping production on the T3 lab because I want to start production on the T2 lab to get more ducks. I should have set this up, and I should have had spam hovers to go with these Shivas. If I have spam hovers to go with these Shivas, this attack will go very, very differently. And it is such an easy and cheap and important thing to do, and I didn't do it, and I should know better. While they're just starting their march, one other thing I really want to quickly add, if you look through my bases, anti-nukes are going up in all the areas where I'm staging my units to protect my allies, all that good stuff. I've also spread around a series of flaks. I've also spread around a series of other anti-air just over the course of the game, because I'm trying to mitigate loss factors when I know that I've done good damage against my direct opponent.
The nuke went down, did it, when that platypus that I missed? Platypus attack I missed.
It did. Here we go. This is the part that I was talking about. This is... I lose way more than I should right here. Because this entire navy can unload on me like no one's business.
Once again, I am seeing a common theme with your spacings. They are too grouped. If you're breaking these up into lines, we're going to get a lot less area of effect. A lot less.
And thankfully, though, the navy is basically down now, and with that, Pink is making landfall with Shivas as well.
Oh, I love it.
But I have gone from a huge Shiva force to a highly damaged Shiva force. I also, because I had the T2 lab, I could have included Medusas with this attack, and I could have had AA going with it. These are things that you have to bear in mind. But still, effect has been had when you have 40 Shivas or so. You can kind of get away with it. Big D gun right there. Big D guns right there. Even more lost. Again, these are mistakes that I need to improve on. 100%.
Interesting choice. The Pink player, rather than pushing up into the biggest threat, is coming down to join you in the middle. And I actually like this, because I definitely would say the north is very well protected from blue, and good eco in the sea here from the purple player. But you're essentially going to clear out a big section of the space, and it's going to very much give you guys the upper hand in winning this game. A few pinpointers taken down like that.
And my attack is going to slowly start petering out here with only a couple of units left, but by attacking at the same time as Pink, we have achieved total dominance of this bottom side of the map. Even though there are still plenty of players here, green is recovering nicely. It is not going to be it is not going to be enough for them to save this bottom half of the map anytime soon.
Let's see.
And while this is going on,
yes.
while this is going on, ducks are building up in order to take on the Navy. When that becomes an issue, more APHIS are going down because the T3 isn't being produced, more build power is going down, and the hover labs are going down for spam for a next attack. So learning from my mistakes in the game.
Okay, good to see this here. I wouldn't be surprised if this here is a game ender. Spam is so important in bar.
Spam is so important.
Oh, we've got the resign vote called.
We do have the resign vote. The blue team has decided to tap out at this point, with the bottom side of the map about to fall to pink, and with many of their players jumping out, it is time for the tap out. And very well played by the opponents. There was a lot for the blue player to do. In fact, most of the players that ended up engaging a lot had to take over someone's eco. There were a lot of dropouts when something didn't go the right way. And for our team as well, many people in our team left too. But overall, very, very strongly played from quite a few of the people in there. And one of the big things about this map was just that too many players were left alone to eco. A couple of things that I would love to draw attention to is just looking at the damage dealt. You can really see the players that really engaged through all of that. And one of the big props I do want to give to the green player, even though they didn't manage to win this one, their Navy really was in control for so much of that game, and they massively spiked on damage compared to everyone else, myself included.
Yeah, big one from there. Prey, you pretty much got the doing everything almost just nudged out of the efficiency by that green player, though. Those Navy units doing damage from range. I just want to quickly check that graph there. Yeah, once that Navy came online, bang.
Yes.
What was really important in this game is this attack that was happening here with those first ducks. Just getting the pressure off of two players in the south meant that you and the light pink player could just go into whatever they wanted. Unfortunately, the light pink there playing a little bit of SimCity. I don't mind it.
Yes,
like learning the game.
Very new to the game as well. You can't really blame them. They are a single Chev OS 17, so in the very infancy of their bar career. And the fact that they got anti-nukes, they scaled. They didn't contribute a lot other than in defense, but they did hold my flank, and I can never say anything bad about that. Jumping over and having a look at the medal produced graph, this one is juicy.
Yeah, clear example of where you get the win, and that's by, I suppose, in any longer games, you need that eco to continuously being scaled, and that's exactly what you did. A nice curve there, just maybe slowly petering out towards the last 5 minutes, but that's at the point where you just like, nah, get these units out, put all my metal into units, and get the win with those Shivas and whatnot. And that is important to recognise when to do that. You don't want to just sit on an eco too long and give the opposition chance to come back, resurrect their units, and yeah, you've shut them down continuously throughout the game. Nicely played. Taking a lot of damage there as well, though, with that Shiva.
Oh yeah, that was huge. Another one that I really want to look at is the metal excess graph. Absolutely props to every single person in the game. No metal excess until the teams were dying. Props to everyone. That's fantastic. And then when you look at the energy excess, nothing until, again, players were being destroyed. Past the 26-minute mark was when there was any major sort of wastage. Props to every single person in the game. This is one of the ways that you get better at bar. You utilize what you have.
That's it. Guys, thanks for watching this one. That was very entertaining for me. I loved seeing you make a few mistakes there, Prey, but also just absolutely dominating with your offense and taking out players' units continuously. Good scaling of the eco throughout that game. A few small errors, but probably one of your better games still.
Take that, person who said that I was being carried by other people. Yeah, I do read the YouTube comments. I saw that.
No, you definitely
Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, chuck a comment down there, particularly tell Twig how bad ducks are. And if you want to play with us, we do co-op sort of stuff on Wednesdays, and we do King of the Hill on Sundays.
maybe you want to join Prey on these Road to 25s as well. He's almost there. Please hit that like and subscribe one more time.
If there's any OS 60 players who want to boost me up to OS 25, let me know. I'll gladly take the carry.
See you, everyone. Enjoy.
Catch ya.